Alright, some of y'all wanted to see the teardown on this. It is a Buick Grand National 3.8 liter. It came out of this car, currently in my storage unit because I don't have anywhere else to work on it. It has at least 130,000 miles on it. I'm not sure if the odometer has rolled over just once or if it has rolled over twice. The car, when I got it, had a couple of upgrades on it. I know from the factory they're 245 horsepower, like 350 foot-pounds of torque, or somewhere around in that range. This car has 36-pound injectors in it, an adjustable, I believe it was a Kinney Bell fuel pressure regulator. It had a 3-inch Kinney Bell downpipe, which is not needed on a fairly stock motor. Believe that's the only things that were done to it as it is. It did have the 90s technology little ratchet strap to the frame to keep the motor from torquing over and hitting anything. Still has the factory Garrett turbo on it. I did have to replace it, but I put another factory Garrett on it for now. This one is actually leaking the seals on the inside. It's leaking oil. I'll have to address that. The other thing we did is we have bypassed the EGR on it. It does have a turbo tweak chip in it that is set up for it, and it bypasses the EGR valve. My EGR valve was leaking, so we made a plate and covered it up. It's pretty much it. It's about as basic of a motor, that you'll find in a Grand National. You're not going to find a lot of stock ones anymore. You can tell in this one the stock intercooler hangs off the front of the motor. It's not a front mount. It is an engine mount in the engine bay. I've already pulled it off. I've pulled off a couple of things. It's just makes it easier to get around and look at. I'm going to go ahead and pop the intake off and see what the inside of the lifter valley looks like. I replaced the intake gasket a couple years ago, so it should be fairly clean. The rest of the block is horrible. Had some oil leaks and things like that. It is the Grand National motor is a 109 block, so this is the Covenant 109 block. So let's get it apart and see what's in it. See what it looks like if we can get the heads off and things today, and check the bores and whatnot, and see what everything looks like. Alright, let's pop this intake. See if we can get it off easily without having to yank the valve covers and whatnot.
I pulled the motor. I pulled as big of a chunk out as I could. Get the intake off, get the valve covers off, and then I'll pull all the accessories and pull all that stuff off the front of the motor. That way we pull the heads. I'm not entirely sure what the inside of these heads look like. I tried borescoping them before, but you don't get a real good image.
The car never ran right. It never ran 100% what I thought it would run. It always had a little bit of knock in it at one point or another. It would only run reliably at 8 pounds of boost. Factory they run about 12. The chip that's in the car should run 17 or 18 pounds. That's with no methanol, just straight boost. So I know there's something wrong. I don't know what it is. I have checked compression before, and compression was good on all the cylinders. Hopefully we can pull it out. The bores are still good on it, and we can just re-ring it and put new bearings in it and go back together. So y'all will learn with me. Today I hope to at least get it down to a short block. I don't have, over here I don't have a way to pull the balancer, so I'll have to acquire that and then come back and pull the balancer, and then I can pull the short block, or pull the timing cover, and then that'll be a way to, pull the short block down to a bare block. So that should be everything. Alright, here's what the lifter valley looks like in this thing. It's fairly clean. There's not too much trash, oil. Oil's fairly clean. It's not too bad. Alright, we got the intake off. Got the valve covers off. Everything looks good up in the valve train. So there's the passenger side manifold with turbo. Just a crossover. Set that over. If you've never had one of these cars apart or ever really looked into them, so this is the oil drain from the turbo, and it just goes in through the front wall into the lifter valley. Is all it does is it just drains straight into the lifter valley and then back down to the pan. So as you can tell, the passenger side header is just like a normal header on any other car. The crossover just feeds over the other side and then goes through and into the turbo. Well, doesn't look horrible. I'm not sure the heads have ever been off this motor. It's got a GM gasket on it. Alright, so looking through here, I mean, the cylinders, they look pretty decent.
Pistons all look good. There's a little bit of color in there. There's a few scrapes, but I think it'll hone out. Nothing that you can catch your fingernail on. See if you can see the other side, even though it's in the dark. You can't really tell.
A short block of a Grand National. Disc pistons, they have graphite head gaskets. Just your basic 80s 6-cylinder. Pulling the heads is not too big a deal with it out of the car. I'm really surprised that I think these were the factory head gaskets. These cars are known, once you turn up the boost to them, they'll push out the gaskets and things like that if the tuning is not quite right on them. So that's surprising. It's also, to me, I think it's a pretty good sign. I think the lower end will be in decent shape. We'll pull it apart, check the bearings, just look it over, clean everything up. Hopefully it'll be a cheap, easy rebuild. But I have found that nothing on the Buicks is cheap or easy. So we'll just have to see how it goes, see how it comes out.